playing well. Exclusive to The Drive with Robin Ross.
It's been a mostly smooth start back to the school year. Maar daar is, soos jy sê, 'n hele klomp kinders wat nog nie plek het nie.
Ja, ons het verlede week gesels oor die gewilde skole veral in die Gauteng provinsie waar daar soveel aansoeke is vir plek in daai skool en daar is eenvoudig net nie genoeg plek vir die hoeveelheid aansoeke wat inkom nie. En daar was baie ouers wat eintlik met ons in kontak getree het oor die feit dat hulle skole ver weg is van waar hulle bly, maar dit is die ministerie wat eintlik vir jou sê na watter skool jou kind kan gaan. And now there's 21,000 pupils in Gauteng who have not been placed. Today is the 17th of January. The schools have started.
Yeah, and that sort of thing is very frustrating to hear. Like when we looked at that list of schools that Roz was talking about, we looked at areas, and so certain areas, especially Ekurhuleni South and so on, that cropped up repeatedly, didn't seem to have, 5 schools in the same sort of geographic area, all of them oversubscribed to a total of, 8 or 10,000 students, which just goes to show we need to sort out how and where we place and get the stuff done a bit faster. Angie Motshekga, the minister, is saying now, give us 10 days. 10 days, everything will be sorted.
How are you going to find placement for 21,000 students in 10 days?
That I don't know.
Also, we see this every year. You can see the visuals on TV news and you hear about it in our news bulletins even, of parents that are so desperate that they then go and camp outside the school district offices hoping to find space for their children. And if you heard Marlene's news at 4, you would have heard a sound clip of Angie Motshekga saying that she gets even embarrassingly rude whenever her phone rings at this time of the year. But she does understand that parents are panicking because their children have not been placed. But surely, as the Minister of Basic Education, embarrassingly rude is not a reaction that you can have, because people want their kids to be educated and that is your job.
Yeah, I get it. Parents are going to be concerned, and that's good. It is the way it should be, and I understand that it is a stressful time of the year, but are we doing the most that we can to make the process as smooth as possible is the question. I mean, I see stories saying, the Western Cape, for example, is busy processing 609 what they call new and extremely late pupils, i.e. people who woke up this morning and realized it was back to school in Dokiplan gemaak nie.
That's shocking.
It is a little bit shocking.
Dit is vir my net skokkend.
609 pupils who hadn't been in the applications process at all, and on day one suddenly turning around and going, excuse me, have you got a place?
Ja.
Hi, I've got
Can
a
we
kid
come
over
here?
here. Ja.
Luister, wat baie ouers ook sê wat sukkel met hierdie proses, is dat die skool eintlik die proses moet hardloop. That they should take the placement of kids in schools away from the Ministry of Basic Education and actually make it the school's prerogative again to enroll these students, because when the schools were running this process, it seemed as if it was slightly smoother.
Yeah, and there's going to be pushback from, all sorts. One half is going to say their method is better, and, we're going to have this argument. But something needs to be done. For example, Mpumalanga is trying to fill 332 vacant teaching posts right now. So we're back to school. They're short 20 principals, 71 deputy principals, and 241 heads of department.
Wow.
And I think back to certain provinces just keep getting the short end of the stick. Remember, was it in Mpumalanga or was it Limpopo? Cast your mind back, and I'm talking a long time now, 15 odd years. Remember, we got to the point where it was almost October and some of the matrics still hadn't received textbooks. Remember that textbook drama?
Yeah.
And there was the whole, one of the NGOs had to go all the way to the Supreme Court to go and fight in order to make sure that textbooks were handed out and so on. It's not nearly that bad anymore.
Yeah.
We've had that fight, but I just feel like it's still not smooth.
Ja, en die ander ding is ook dat die skole wat aan die kort end van die stokkie trek, daardie skole, soos wat jy nou genoem het, Limpopo, Mpumalanga, as hulle matriekuitslae dalk nie so goed is nie, dan kom dit terug op die skool. Maar as die skool, if the school isn't receiving the resources that they need, and if the kids are not actually placed in time, I mean, school has started. Now there's 21,000 kids that have missed now 2 days, potentially 10 days, potentially longer, because I don't know how 21,000 kids are going to be found schools in the next 10 days. I don't think she should have put that kind of pressure on herself and her department, because ostensibly it's not going to take that short time to figure out where these 21,000 kids are going.
Well, now we have a time frame. It's been handed to us. We will keep an eye on it, but it's been a very dramatic week. It's back to schools this week. It's, all of this drama. It's the school placement things. Tomorrow, Angie has to do the announcement of the matric results for 2023. So the minister is going to be involved there, and then we get all of those results as well. Gaan drama wees oral when it comes to schooling this week. And then, on top of all of that, we heard that Durban is back under stage 5 storm warnings. So a whole bunch of schools closed early today and sent kids home because it's not safe at the moment.
Yeah.
Dit is baie wat aangaan op die oomblik. So anything to do with education, if you are in it, if you are around it, if you have children, if you are a parent, if you're a matric, if you're awaiting results, good luck this week. Hopefully by the end of next week, things will be calmed down. And while we're on the subject of getting things done, this is going to be a segue now. It's going to sound like we did it on purpose, and it's not true. But it is always on time.
Always on time.